Hello, welcome everyone. We are at the tail end of day 2 of our International Forum on Youth. Our theme this year is global transition, and we have had a great day of panel discussions already, and I'm really excited about our event this evening. We're going to be joined by an educator from Nepal, Prakash Giri, who is going to be talking about the role of mentorship in his experience and what he's learned and what he can pass on to us. Before I tell you a little bit about our speaker, I want to invite you to join us for our upcoming International Forum on Youth events. Tomorrow morning, we have a really interesting talk from Jason Oliver, who's a colleague of mine here at College of the Canyons. He's going to be talking about a lot of issues related to sustainability and global equity. And he'll also be inviting some of his students to share that in that conversation. And then following that, we'll have an interesting talk, a panel discussion on workforce development and what's in store for us in that area. And about 24 hours from now, we'll have another guest speaker, this time from Vietnam, Dr. Mark Ashwell, who's going to be talking about his impressions of what the future of Vietnam holds and what it might mean for the rest of us. And then Thursday, I won't go through all of them, but we have another set of great talks. We have a really interesting young woman speaking about the importance of networking, and then we're going to have a student panel and then a scholarly panel. And I hope you can join us, because as we start to move into the latter stages of the week, we're going to be starting to try to apply some of the things we've learned and take action and brainstorm on how we can move forward with what our students and our scholars are here to teach us. So with that, again, welcome. Thank you for being here. I know everyone's busy, so I appreciate you taking time out of your day to join us. And again, I'm Brent Riffle. I'm in the history department here at COC. And one of the things I really enjoy is meeting with and working with and collaborating with my colleagues, not only here at COC, but because of the opportunities at this college, we have a chance to get to know overseas faculty. And I've had that opportunity with our speaker tonight. And so I want to introduce him and let him share his thoughts here. Prakash Chandra Giri is an educator, a principal, a lecturer, a research scholar. He is a scholar at Nepal Open University in Kathmandu, Nepal. He won a British Council Award in 2017 for bringing international dimensions to local curriculum. He has been involved as an English Access Micro Scholarship instructor for about 4 years in Nepal. He is a TESOL certified English teacher and a life member of the Nepal English Language Teachers Association. He has completed online training via Arizona State University and through Literacy International in Tulsa, Oklahoma. And in addition to that expertise, he has also presented papers at various regional, national, and international conferences, and is particularly interested in exploring applications of open source software and online tools. Today, he's going to enlighten us and teach us a little bit about his perspective on the role of mentorship. So please join me in welcoming our speaker tonight, Prakash Chandra Giri.
Hello, good morning from Nepal. I think good evening there in the US and around the world. So those who are watching, I'm so excited, and greetings and namaste from Nepal. This is great privilege to be with you today. Am I audible and visible? And the screen is there. Can I confirm? Okay, thank you so much. I have been practicing mentoring the learners beyond the formal classroom, and I have been mentored by someone in my life. And mentoring is a great umbrella term in our life. So whether it is formally we practice it or informally we do it, but this is very genuine practice in our life to be successful, to be furthering our career. So mentoring learners beyond the formal, I have one great experience in my life. Beyond my formal classrooms, I could mentor some learners. I could meet them in park. I could meet them in the restaurant and talk English, and I could teach them English. Conversation is skill, and they could elevate the level of conversation. They could level up the English language, fluency and appropriacy. So this is my topic, mentoring learners, youths beyond the formal. I would like to welcome you all. And before starting, I would like to brainstorm you. So what do you think the idea of mentoring? I would like to draw the attention of the audience here. What comes to your mind? Have you been practicing it? The particular word meaning and the real meaning of mentoring is in Nepal, we can't find in translation. I could find out the real authentic uh, meaning of mentoring in my language here. I couldn't get. So, I mean, that is not practiced in all the parts of the world. So we can practice it as mentoring, but when we translate it in Nepali language, so I couldn't find the exact translated word. And many believe that it is like a suggestions, it is like a advising or counseling or teaching. So it has a broad scope and the broad term in our context, in our culture. So I mean, in our culture, mentoring is not well practiced, but we are going to make it practice. We are going to practice it well with others, peoples. So this is great privilege to introduce in Nepal, in my Pokhara city, how can we mentor others to the learners, those who are facing different challenges in their life in the learning process. And one quote, John Maxwell said, find the best people you can, then develop them into the best leaders they can be. So our responsibility is not only for the sake of us, it's for others. We need to cascade others. We need to share others what we have. And we need to maximize other potentialities. We have a big responsibility as an educator, as a mentor, as a teacher, as a facilitator. So we have a big responsibility to facilitate, to elevate, to maximize the others' potentialities. So this is the great point to be noted. Another thing is transition. Sometimes we think, you can think of a situation in your life, somebody encouraged you, somebody make you real challenging to face and to be alert and to be bold and to be firm in the challenging time, in the time of crisis. For example, in the pandemic situation, I could face different challenges financially and academically and different aspects. But I could find and I could talk with my mentor. And when I could meet him once a week in the park and we could share each other and I could give my feelings and ideas and emotions, and he tried to maximize my potentialities and he could give some ideas and exploring myself. I could do that. And mentoring is not advising. Sometimes work. If we try ourselves to face the challenges or the troubles and the difficulties, then we can be an alert person and we can practice it well. So you can think of a situation in which you have been helped by somebody in your life you trust and traveling aspect of your life. That might be your relatively recent. That can be your recent some situation where you could get some suggestions or some ideas from others. You might have such experience. And in the time of crisis. So if so, who is your mentor and who is your mentoree? Do you have mentor? If not, seek. I highly recommend you. Academic mentor, spiritual mentor, or your life's mentor, those who really helps you to lead the life. And so you try to make others also some mentee in your life, because what you know and you have to share and cascade others. And you need to find somebody who really wants to grow in their life. Some youths, they are wandering in their life, and we can make them safe with their one feelings and ideas, and they can explore themselves. But we can just be facilitator. We can just be mentor for them. We can meet up weekly or once a month or twice a month, and then we can do. So, who is your mentor? One question you can keep in your mind. So, my mentor is my father. He's also a teacher, he's also a principal. He's leading a government school, and I'm also leading a private school in city. He's in village. And I asked my father, and we meet each other. And father is also mentor, you know. That might be formal situation, that might be informal situation, no problem. So you can make from your home, and you can start. Not only my father mentor, but I have another mentor also. But this is an example. You can start from your house. And my son, who is smiling, I could help him to smile and to help others, to give others, to make him a better person in the future. So I start from the home, and that will make a great impact in the society, in the community, and in the nation. These are my students. They really love to be with me, around me, and they really love to learn. And I would like to be around them and share them and help them, and I support them in some aspects. So this is our life. We can mentor and be mentor. So what is the definition of mentor? University of Reading defines the mentoring is to support and encourage people to manage their own learning. So can so that they can maximize their potential, they can develop their skills, they can improve their performance and become the person they want to be. Supporting and encouraging, managing their own learning, maximizing the potentiality, developing their skills, improving their performance. So that is the spirit of the growth. So we should have a teaching heart. We should have the giving heart. To be a mentor is not easy task. So we should have a helping heart and interpersonal skill, even intrapersonal skill. So the person they want to be clarified, that the individual, they can share the goals and establish the goals, and they can reach in the goals. So this is some definitions, and another definition also, it is a relational experience. It empowers by sharing God-given resource or other resources as well. It's a relational process. I would like to stress here is it is a relational process. Relational process. Taking the initiative to join someone's life and journey. So you want to be, or you can be a part of somebody's life, and you can empower. And while talking the mentorings, peer mentoring, you can make your friend, you can be on same level. And this is a relationship in which both participants, they give and take, they give and receive. It means it is a perfect way to experience. You know, I meet one my friend who is also an English educator, and we share each other what is the challenges, what is the great opportunity for us in this community of practice in English language teaching in Nepal, and research ideas. We share each other. We are the mates, but we meet up for different purposes once a week in the restaurant having coffee. And this is great, great healing part. I think you can experience, you have been experiencing such kind of your practice of mentoring. This is a genuine mutual relations. It is a healing part. You know, something you have, you like to share, you like to cascade the knowledge and ideas, and you like to shape the way where you like to be in the coming days. And peer mentoring is a relationship. It really helps if we do practically, if we are action oriented, and this brings new changes and dimensions. I really love to do and highly encourage you to find or seek a mentor, a peer mentor you can be, and you can have the opportunity respecting each other, taking turns to carry one another's burden, and building the relationship of the relationship with each other, and share the goals and reach there each other. So this is a great practice. So think about a mentor you had. You can think about mentoring relationship, influential in your life. So you can brainstorm who was. That might be indirect or unofficial mentor. That might be any person who really supported you, and somebody didn't say you directly, I'm mentoring you, but he or she was indirectly mentoring you. And you are today in this situation, and I'm in this situation today, or we are in this situation today. That means somebody did for us, and we have to accredit them. We have to give a big credit for them because they really supported us. That might be unofficial way, that might be indirect way, but somebody really made us influential and impact. And such questions should be triggered. Such questions should be asked while practicing the mentoring. And I would like to ask you your recent situation, because we should have the feelings or ideas, or we should have such kind of relationship so that we can be healthy bodily, kinesthetically, spiritually, mentally. We should be healthier person. So how is the relationship with our family? What have you recently read? Reading is, the more we read, the more we get healing, and we can share. What specific things are you pursuing these days? What specific tasks you are facing right now? And what have you done to play and relax? How is your relationship? What are you doing with your friends or your kids? What is the state of your sexual perspective? Are you financially well today or not? What are the fears at this present time? What are the three things that you are most thankful for? So these questions you can ask yourself and reflect yourself. And then it helps you to set a goal and make you healing. And it can make you to be directed in the right direction. We need to share others, but confidential, keeping confidential. Somebody share the things and these feelings, but they leak, and that's not okay. So I will share you confidentiality also. And some essential qualities in mentorship: integrity, authenticity, be original, who really you are. Don't pretend you are okay and you are doing a great thing. I'm really learning. I understood it. No, sometimes be critical, sometimes be authentic. I couldn't understand it. I'm sorry. Could you please tell me this again, or how I can learn it? So, excellent character, servant's heart, it means giving heart to others, being humble, mature, engaged, and sustainability. Relationship is should be sustainable. People, they just do formally for 1 year, 2 year, and they don't keep the relations. It means we need to be in touch with people, those who contributed in our life. So these are the essential qualities in mentorship. A good mentee: ability to reflect, performance, eagerness to learn, and growing maturity. Attitude and actions are very important. And appreciation. We need to appreciate the mentor. We need to appreciate the mentee, for some good works. Have you done really great job? You have done really a great job. It was your good try. Sometimes we need to keep the good remarks for mentee or for mentor. So it goes simultaneously. These characteristics we should have so that we can grow in maturity. And our attitudes, our actions should speak louder than our words. So punctuality and reliability. So these are the some characteristics in any aspects of our life we can have. So mentoring role there can be like discipler, somebody disciples on in some spiritual aspects, or director, or coach, or counselor. So mentoring is an umbrella term. Under this, these all things counts, and I want to focus on this teaching, teacher. So as an educator, so the process is I transmit, I share the knowledge and the guidance. I facilitate the knowledge and skills. And the mentees, the students' goal will be developing and having the knowledge and receiving the knowledge and growing in the ideas and skills. So mentoring roles in different terms that might come, but we are doing it. While mentoring, there are some interventions from the mentor. So you can have authoritative interventions or facilitative interventions. How do you deal with the people, with the mentee? Is it supportive? Is it really seeking to enable the mentee to express the painful emotions? It really seeks to stimulate the learnings and problem solving skills or creativity and imaginations. Is it really helping? Are you asking with some authoritative interventions or facilitative interventions? So you can go with context, right? Sometimes you can ask. It sounds like you handle that in a very mature and confident way. So it gives the quality and attitude and actions of the mentee to give a value, a meaning. You can have such kind of interventions. But I highly recommend that facilitative interventions are better than authoritative. But it depends on context sometimes. But we can go through it and so that we can lead the people and youths. Some helpful questions, open-ended questions, clarifying questions, growing questions, life growing questions. You can openly ask, probing, reflecting questions, clarifying questions. So while mentoring, while talking, while dealing with the mentee, so do that and don't do that. So this is not the way of doing. So just try to reflect, try to make the mentee experience and expose and reflect what he is really doing and feeling. So we can practice it. If you can see some others YouTube tutorials also, how can we mentor each other. One person can be observer, one person is mentor, another person is mentee. So if we have time, we can practice it. It's like a counseling, it's like a advising, but not direct advising. Mentoring is a little bit different. It is just helping to maximize the potentiality, developing their skills, realizing themselves, exploring themselves. So we can put some questions, some growing questions and reflecting questions, and so that they can feel and they can share openly. So on helpful questions, never try asking ambiguous questions, multiple questions. So be to the point, be to be specific is another great way. So multiple leading ambiguous questions are might be unhelpful while mentoring. And another skill is empathic listening. Listening skill, I would like to share we have 2 ears and one mouth. It means we need to listen more and speak with thinking. So that is said. That means we should have a listening skill. Practicing empathy sounds like a good idea. It causes the listener to give up the control. So people who practice empathic listening, that they say the same, even though they seem indecisive, soft, but it is very nice while talking with mentee. Sometimes they might have the emotional feelings, or they might have some troubles and weaknesses. At that time we need to be soft and indecisive. That means we should have empathic listening. So it is very effective in personal situations, but in business, in other jobs, in other work situation, it might not work well, because we should be decisive, assertive, and bold enough in some aspects. But it depends on the context, in the personal situation, emotional situation, in learning environment. So we should have a listening skill. How do we listen? We listen carefully. We let the person explore. So we empathize, we identify with their feelings. For example, we should demonstrate that you understand, or we have to summarize the facts and the feelings, how they are facing. So listening, empathizing, and asking. So we can develop complete understanding by asking the additional information. We can confirm that we have captured all the concerns. We have a desire to support and to ask. And purpose is that address all the concerns. We need to collaborate to ensure the needs to be met. So these are some skills in listening. Another thing, in the mentoring journey, confidentiality is very, very important instrument for us, idea for us. We should not be leaking pot. So sometimes we have mentoring with somebody, and we expose the things, everything. That's not the good way. And we should keep separate, confidential, so that we can have a good relations. We are not allowed to expose and disclose the conversation and impressions with the other people about that person. Sometimes I might share very hidden agenda, and I'm looking for some opportunity, how I can do this, or how I can make it successful. And it doesn't, confidentiality helps us really to move the life in a safe way. So this is a leaking pot. I mean, I just got a picture anyway. So it can be used for where, but sometimes leaking pot cannot be used by people. And people don't trust us if we don't keep this confidentiality, or if we don't keep the things which are important and secretly. So that is the way we should keep confidential. We should be confidential. Some findings from the teachers I have got. So these are some my findings I got from the survey. And so these are some names and institutions. Who is your mentee? So I had asked them, and I got some challenges. In mentoring, there are some challenges as well. For example, they don't know how to start and how to end and how to do the official mentoring in the formal classroom, in the formal situation. So lack of exposure can be the one challenging point, and there will be no group work. So I was focusing on my research and my findings on the teaching skill beyond the formal classroom in the school. And sometimes time management. When we meet in the family, there will be the disturbances, right? And tolerance and patience. Sometimes mentor might not have the patience, or mentee might not have the patience and tolerance, and should have the heart of teaching and giving. So there were some challenges, and we need to mentor on the basis of the level and the interest and ideas based on the mentees, and instructions plans should be developed as per the levels and interest. So these were some challenges for them, and I was asking them how you were doing that, and they share me some challenging point, and I just here highlighted. And benefits, there were some. They could have the ample opportunity, students' individual nature and listening skill they could develop, and in mentoring they had the flexibility of the place and time. They could meet sometimes in park, sometimes in the restaurant, sometimes at home, and they could conversation have the conversation openly, and they could engage in different other skills, like even the teachers, they could support their students as a for homework also, you know, and they could develop their speaking skill open in conversation. And it was one benefit is a lifelong impression, and they could feel that it was really lifelong impressions. It was said by the students also and teachers also. You know, teachers, educators, they were so happy to bring an impression among the mentees and the students beyond the classroom. So that was the way they were doing and practicing, and this really made uh, us and made me in findings that, oh, we can keep a lifelong impression on others. That's the great outcome in the time of transition, in the time of crisis. And some my experience, and I have got some experiences in these skills, so that I could collect like leadership skill and listening skill. It's not easy to be a leader. It's not to be a good listener, but we need to practice listening, having patience and tolerance. And sometimes I used to feel that in the before mentoring practice, I'm only knowledgeable, I'm only skillful, only I am um, resourceful. You know, sometimes we think that I am and I am, but somebody is also gifted. I need to listen to them, I need to know from them, I need to have the such patience to listen to others, and to get the ideas from others. So others are also knowledgeable, others are also resourceful, others are also uh, rich in resources. So we need to think of like that, and that develops our listening skill and citizenship skill. We break down the stereotypes. One of the mentee was from different culture, and I could mentor, and I have been mentoring him, and I could know his hidden cultures. You know, I had a big stereotypes in my mind. Oh, he has very bad culture. I don't like such kind of culture and these people. But after mentoring, I could know the truth, and I could break down such kind of stereotypes in my life. And I'm open and friendly with other cultures, with others' values, with others' practices, and we could learn to have the citizenship skill and communication and collaboration skill. We can develop collaborations and communication. So it comes automatically. And we can have a critical thinking, problem solving skill also. Because mentor helps to maximize, to explore myself. So what do you think if you could do that? And he helps me to think critically and to solve the problems myself. He or she can solve the problems myself, and it automatically develops our creativity, our imaginations, our critical thinking and problem solving skills. And we learn to facilitate others. We help others to do the some works, and we become positive, confident, and generous person. It's not easy to be positive, confident, and generous. So mentoring really helps to develop such kind of skills, and I have got such experiences in my life to be global citizen, to be a leader, positive and confident. And I would like to put you an action plan. So list some possible names. You identify suitable people as a mentor or peer mentors. You can make a list, and somebody can be your spiritual mentor, somebody might be your academic mentor, your life mentor. So you can list and establish the relationship and propose him or her. So I would like to be mentored by you. You can openly share. I would like to learn something. I'd like to meet up with you time and again. When can we meet? And you make a plan, and you share some challenges and some insights with the mentors. And you can share this with your friends, not me now. So you can share some challenges and insights you have gained from the meetings with somebody, those who you were supposed to be. So make some statements of your goals you are seeking in a relationship and personal. I mean, you can find a mentor and qualities of person, you can make a list and needs they could meet. So I request you to find a mentor, to seek a mentor, and be mentored by him or her and your life, and the period of transitionals, and that will go away, and you can really make your one way better in your life. So I think I could talk
Thank you.
about 30 minutes. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Prakash. That was really excellent. I have a number of questions from the chat, and I have some that I'd like to ask as well. But before we take those questions, would anyone like on the Zoom? Would anyone like to ask a question of our speaker? I'm happy to ask some too.
I do have a quick question. The college has a formal mentor-mentee program. And as you can imagine, the mentor-mentees, mostly they choose each other, and then they go through a structured program that lasts about a semester where they meet periodically. And what we've noticed from that is that on occasion, that relationship stays, but very rarely, almost always, as soon as the semester is over, then there's not that mentoring aspect ceases to happen on a regular basis. You seem to have this broad knowledge of the ins and outs around mentoring, and I'm wondering if you've ever been part of a formalized mentor program, and perhaps in your institution or something, and in a professional manner, not a mentor-student level. Have you ever been part of a formal one? And if you haven't, that's fine. If you have, how did it go? How did it work?
Yeah, great questions. In our culture in Nepal, it is not practiced in academic context and situation. So we do it's for ourselves here, and we are exploring. So I have a big responsibility to mentor, to bring the scope of mentoring in Nepal. So it's not, as you said and as you asked, it has not been practiced in Nepal. So we need to bring such kind of dimensions. That's why I'm exploring in these areas.
Thank you. That was a great question. Really interesting response too. I noticed that you spoke a lot about sort of the emotional and spiritual even aspects to mentoring. And I'm wondering, is that something that is emotionally draining for mentors and mentees? And if so, how do you practice self-care? How do you cope with that drain?
Yeah, so the great point is a healing point. We can keep official mentorings, and we do professional mentoring. That is also okay, but emotional part, if we can't bring the person in the right place, in the right way, and we cannot teach, or we cannot bring the dimension in mentoring in the life. So emotional and bringing the ideas, what are the feelings, so this will really draw the attentions to explore more and to go the further process. And first target is emotional aspect. If we can address that, if we can reach that, and then others ideas will automatically grow and elevate. So I would like to focus on this point first, and then we can develop other areas. So people are better, people are good, people are greater, and but they are not happy. They are not emotionally mature. They are not emotionally fine, and but that doesn't work. So I would like to focus on this point.
Thank you. That's an interesting point you're making. Do we have other questions from our audience? I have a few others I'd like to get into from our chat, but does anyone else have a question they'd like to present? So could we talk about, I really like your action plan, because I think that's a very cohesive and clear way for particularly a young person to find a mentor and to set goals for that relationship. But I wonder if you had any thoughts about the challenges that young people have in finding mentors today. And I ask that because I hear from my students a lot that in this pandemic and in our overall digital lifestyle, even before the pandemic, that students sometimes feel very isolated. And so I'm wondering, is it harder to find a mentor in this very isolated digital world? And if so, how can students, I love the action plan, but how can students, when they feel isolated, how can they go about finding a mentor in this environment?
Yeah, first one is seek, need to seek. Those who seek, they will find. One my way or method is, those who seek will find, but it's not easy to find a mentor, but it is great to propose, those, they can make some rubric, like, so whom to meet and how to meet up. It is the way of meeting online also. In this digital world, we can be mentor online digitally also. So we can have conversations, we can have different other ways, means and medium of communication also. So but I recommend highly to meet up face to face with the mentor, to find the mentor. uh, when they feel such kind of isolated feelings and thoughts, so I recommend to seek and make a plan, and they can really propose to the person. But sometimes might be rejected by the prospective or the supposed mentors. They might be rejected, but no worry, you can find another, those person who really want to be. So I recommend to seek first with patience, and yeah, we can really get. So, but the initiative should come from the seeker, if I want to be growing, if I would like to be elevating my life, and I need to look for, I need to go, I need to knock. And sometimes door might not be opened, but sometimes door might be opened, and opening door really brings us revelations and that happiness on us.
Thank you. And I want to, this kind of, your response there kind of fits nicely with a question we just had from one of our audience members about finding a mentor. And I wonder, just kind of taking her question a little bit in another direction, are there situations where a mentor seeks a mentee? And is that something you've encountered, where someone feels like they have something to share and they're actively looking for mentees? Because I think we've all at points in our lives been on the mentee side of things and wanted that mentor, but does it ever work the other way, where a mentor seeks the mentee?
Yeah, those who have the giving heart and helping heart, they can, they want to, they see that somebody, if I would like to help him and he can grow. So we can do that also, but I do sometimes like that. Okay, that person, he really needs some mentoring, and I would like to help. But I don't say directly, oh, I'm mentoring you, officially mentoring you, but I bring him in my house. Do you have a time you can come to my home and you can read the book and let's have a coffee. So sometimes I also take the initiative. And my mentor, one of my mentor also took initiative, but I could know later that he was mentoring me. So that is the interesting point in my life. So the persons, it might be differently, so how they do, but mentees, they can seek, no doubt, but mentor also can help somebody. You know, this is the culture we can develop. So teaching heart, yeah.
So you mentioned there was a word you used earlier in your talk tonight that I thought was interesting, which was cathartic. And you talked about the cathartic nature of this relationship between mentor and mentee. It seems to me that you're proposing that the mentor-mentee relationship can often be very challenging in terms of the mentor perhaps pushing the mentee into reconsidering things and posing difficult questions. So I wonder, does this create conflict between the mentor-mentee, and how do we overcome those conflicts? Because it seems to me if you're getting into a very personal space and a very provocative space, you're going to have conflicts. So how do these conflicts happen, and how do we resolve them?
Patience, and I say this to be patience and forgiveness. Sometimes mentee, they do what they like, and they want to have the conflict, by sharing and being direct. But mentee should have the heart of patience and helping, and ultimate goal is to change or bring the dimensions to the mentees. So we can resolve this such kind of situation by listening, making wearing the shoes of the mentees. We should have the heart of listening, and we should have the practice of listening skill, and we can feel how mentees are feeling, and at that time we can share the burdens each other, and there will not be any issues, but we can have some direct and assertive. So I don't like that. In a very formal and in a humble way, we can bring the changes. So it is a great way to be patient and to be a good listener. Just listen and reflect. So that helps.
So, I think that when I listen to your overview of the key elements of mentorship, it's interesting because it seems broader than a lot of the ideas of mentorship that I usually think of. It seems more encompassing. It seems deeper in a lot of ways. And I wonder, it also seems like a commitment, a real commitment. And I think we know that, but maybe a deeper commitment than I would have imagined. And so I guess my question is it appropriate for a mentor to ever withdraw from this relationship? To pull back if they feel that the commitment is too much time or too emotionally costly? Is it, or if I enter into this commitment with you, is it only the mentee that can pull back from this relationship? Does that make sense?
Yeah. So I couldn't get your point. So may I get the point? A clear cut point?
Sure. It's quite a commitment to be a mentor. Is it ever okay to withdraw from that commitment, to back away from that commitment?
Okay. Yeah, we should have commitment for certain times. You should not be for life commitment, but for certain times, for 2 years or 3 years, or for 5 years. So we can have such kind of commitment with the mentees, and we can develop such kind of mentorship with commitment. I feel I have such kind of commitment that I need to help somebody to grow, and for certain times. So it should not be lifelong or the whole life, but in certain times, for certain times, we can have such kind of commitment.
Tim had a really great question about and I like it too. I like the section you talked about life questions. Can we go back to that for a minute? I want to revisit that. Is that something we could look at for just a minute? Because I had a question about that in terms of, are these questions that you pose, is this something that I should, if I want to find a mentor, is this something that I should share with someone to identify if they're a good fit for me or not? And if it's not easy to get back to that spot, it's perfectly fine. I just thought that was a really interesting part of your talk. I know Tim thought so too.
Okay, so have you written on the chat box? Or I'm looking for a chat box if somebody is asking.
Maybe if you pulled up the slide.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah, if you could go back.
Let's look at that slide.
Okay, do I need to share the slides?
Yeah, share your screen.
Yes, yes, please.
Okay, sorry. So
And then go
which
back.
one?
Go back about 10 slides or so.
So which one are you asking? I'm sorry for that. I couldn't get that.
It was after empathetic listening, I think.
This one?
Next one. Nope, well, now I've lost track. I thought it was before confidentiality, but you had this series of questions to think about. Let's see another slide.
Okay, list of the questions I had made, right? Sorry. This one.
This one.
Yeah, there you go.
Is this it? Yeah, this is it, right, Brent?
Yeah,
Yeah.
And this is, yeah, it is. And I think we shared this view, Tim, that yeah, are these the kind of questions that I should utilize? I should use these questions to identify a good potential mentor.
Yes. It means the questions can be asked to the mentee also. You know?
Oh, I see. So this is more for the mentor to ask as sort of a way to initiate the conversation, to start the.
Exactly. So where is he right now? You know, if these things are okay for him, if these things can answer, and we can further our conversation, we can further our mentoring relationship, you know, because this is like a pre-test in mentoring.
So it seems to me that you're saying, like, I don't know if this makes sense, but would it be safe to say that mentor-mentee relationships should be almost probationary in the sense that we should have a short period at the beginning to see if this should move forward? Or should we commit right at the beginning and go from there?
No, not like the probation. Like it is to know where he is standing and where his life or her life is.
Mm-hmm.
I should know the truth. You know, I should know some pre-assumptions or values or cultures and his feelings. And then we can further our mentor relationship or mentorship. So it has to where the person is right now.
So you mentioned, if I heard you correctly, you mentioned that this type of formal, or not formal necessarily, but this type of mentorship was not, am I correct in hearing this? This is not something that's very common in Nepal. Is that correct?
Yes.
And so where have you learned these practices?
Yeah, this is, I could explore myself. And one of the organization is Development International Associations. It is of faith-based institutions around the world. And I could have a trainings of 15 days. It is a faith-based one program. Okay. And I could have a training of 15 days. And then I could explore on it. So I really give the credits to DAI, Development Associate Internationals.
Okay.
One organization, yeah.
We had another question come in from the chat. It's a really good one. What is some advice you would give to new mentors who are just starting to help others?
Okay. So rejoice on it. First is this is great responsibility for you, and you are changing somebody's life. I mean, you are being a part of somebody's life. First, rejoice and being happy on it, and then do with patience and having good listening skill, and ask the question in grow methods. So open questions. Don't go with the direct questions like, why don't you do that? Why did you do that? Just ask what you want to know more and what he or she can do or solve the problems. So you practice from your surroundings, like you with your friends. So you can be a peer mentor, and you can mentor your others juniors friends or the children's or kids with some of the specific guidelines. So you can make a one worksheet, and on the basis of that plan, and you can start first make a plan and start and go, and there will be some challenges occur, sometimes time management or others management. There will be some challenging points in the course of mentorship, but uh, we should have patience and humbleness and happy on it. Be happy with it and go ahead.
Thank you. I have another question from the chat, and that it's about the segment of your talk about empathic listening. You know, here in the United States, I think empathy is something that we hear a lot, and we stress that a lot as a positive thing. But could you clarify your thoughts on that? Because I was interested in what you said about empathic listening. Are you saying that's not necessarily a good thing? Or could you add a little bit more to that?
Yeah, empathic listening is not like a sympathy, but it's different than sympathy.
Mm-hmm.
So empathic listening is wearing the somebody's shoes, and there might be some nails in the shoes, and we feel that how hot it is, right? Somebody's this is a sharing the burdens. There is the sharing of the stress or the ideas or feelings, some emotional aspects or life challenging aspects. So when the youths, especially youths, they are facing different challenges and they cannot share others. They don't have any listener who can listen to them and who can have the listening that empathetically. So at that time, empathize to them is a really a great initiative for the peoples, those who are looking for. Yeah, it is I say it is mandatory for me. I need to know, I need to have the level, or I need to have the in the place of the person who is really challenging.
It's interesting. You talk about what a commitment this is. Have you ever been a mentor and things didn't go well? And what did you do?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, sometimes I took initiative. It does not work sometimes, but the mentors, those who want to know and be with me and talk with me and have with me the time, and at that time it goes well. So the great challenging point is time management, and I see that, and it didn't go well, and I couldn't continue, and so even though we have the flexibility in our the commitment from the mentee, if there is not, it will be really challenging.
Mm-hmm.
And I can do through other media also, because I don't like to stop, and I do with social media. I can ask, how are you doing? What are you doing these days? How you so can you tell me what you are doing these days? And I can ask through my chat, and we can have from there also.
And then
But
building on that, thank you.
yeah.
Building on that, we had a great question from Sam. How do you resolve personality conflicts during this mentoring?
Yeah, citizenship is skill. I recommend to be global citizen. Break down the stereotypes. Sometimes we might have pre-assumption that sometimes we might have such kind of feelings and assumption that does not work well. So personality conflicts, um, humbleness, being humble. So you become a testimony for mentee. So be a good example. Don't pretend your life, oh, I am so knowledgeable and better, I am perfect, I am knowledgeable than you. No, sometimes you need to think, yeah, mentee is also knowledgeable and is skillful, resourceful. If we have such feelings, and there will not be conflict.
Thank you. Do we have any other questions from our audience? I know we had a lot out there, but any other thoughts or questions or observations anyone wants to make?
Brent, I can say something here. I think that Prakash's perspective on what the nature and purpose of mentor-mentee relationships is, it does not sound very Western-centric. I think a lot of mentor-mentee relationships are oriented towards professional relationships. They have a purpose of getting ahead, learning the ropes, not making mistakes that impact career and things like that. But I think we neglect that portion of mentoring that can really be more about our personalities and how we work with other people and how we understand our own purpose in life and our own desires for happiness and how we can accomplish those. It's a much softer touch. And I really, really appreciate it. I think it's something that might be a little bit missing in the business world in the United States. And it's a refreshing thing to hear.
I couldn't agree more. I share your view there, Tim, because I think when prior to this presentation, if you'd asked me about mentoring and mentorship, I would have spoken about the career elements of that and how that relates to navigating your way through your professional life. But I think what we're hearing from Prakash is something, you're right, it's a deeper conversation between mentor and mentee that can then form, I think, a foundation that might lead to success in the workplace or success in other areas of life. But you're right. I think it's something more, a little bit more profound, I think, than what I'm accustomed to in the United States. Another question. Is it recommended to mentor someone of the opposite sex?
Oh, great question. I don't recommend that. So, the people might be tempted in this case. So I recommend highly for the same sex, like the boys can, or male can mentor males and female can mentor female. So some secret and hidden things and some feelings they cannot share to opposite sex. So it's not practical as we do with the same sex. I don't know your culture there, you can share it openly, but in our culture, so male dominated culture here in Nepal, so we don't try to have such kind of mentorship with opposite sex, to be open. Openly shared.
Thank you. Saab, my colleague in the math department, Saab has an interesting question here. The idea of mentorship is similar to what is sometimes called apprenticeship in specialty skills and discipleship in religious organizations. It's more holistic than academic. And I think that's a great point, Saab. I think that kind of builds nicely on what we've heard today. This is a broader approach to understanding mentorship.
Yeah, so let me expand on this a little bit. I should turn my camera on. So like in Japan, when you start working, whether it's a teaching or business, or corporate world, a lot of times your boss becomes your mentor. It happens almost automatically, and it's not just at the at the work, like in the United States, where you have a mentor-mentee relationship. The boss or the mentor may be involved in your family celebrations. They may come and visit, your house. They may take you out to dinner, all kinds of things. And it's a lot more holistic, personal relationship to the fullest extent. And I think that's maybe similar to what we were talking about, not just an academic thing for one semester and say goodbye. I don't know. Maybe I am just reading too much into it, but anyway, that's my thought.
Yeah, I share Saab's comment as well. I see the same thing.
Yeah, I do too. Yeah, thank you, Saab. Any other questions? This was a great conversation. I have to say, it really opened my eyes about the possibilities of mentorship and the depth of mentorship that's out there. Other questions or comments or observations? Well, I want to thank you, Prakash, for an outstanding presentation. And I want to thank everybody for being here this evening. And we will continue the International Forum on Youth tomorrow with a session on sustainability at 11 a.m. Pacific time. We'll follow that up with more panels and events all throughout the week. So hope to see you there. And if you enjoyed Prakash's talk as much as I did, I know you'll want to be there. He'll be back with us again on Thursday afternoon. We're going to have a panel discussion with some of the scholars, including Prakash, where we're going to be sharing some of these ideas we've been talking about. I'm sure we'll come right back to this issue of mentorship. I know others will have thoughts on that as well. So we'll see Prakash again in a couple of days. And if there are no more questions or comments, we'll call it a night. But thanks again, everyone, for being here. Great to see everyone. And Prakash, thank you again for a wonderful presentation. Really appreciate it.
Okay, thank you so much. Thank you for this opportunity.
And before
we have a poll?
we do have a short poll that we would like to launch, and just, this is a way for us to gauge what you like and what you want to see in the future, because this is our third year we're doing it. And so we'll come together, look at all the polls, look at all the comments and everything. I think this was a great presentation, Prakash. Thank you so much for being here. But as the poll goes, we would love to get your feedback. And this is one of the ways you can do that.
Okay. I think we're good there. Thanks, everybody. Really enjoyed this conversation, and we will see you soon. Prakash, we'll see you on Thursday. Thank you for taking time out of your day to join us, and all of you as well. And we'll see you next time. Thanks.